I was raised by the wolves. I was raised by the wolves. Ain't to they fool.
All right, folks, we are back. Yes, we are back. It has been a long ass time, but we are back. Another edition of the Red White Podcast. I almost forgot how to do this, and apparently we are live streaming because I did not turn that off too. So say hi to everybody, Will.
What do we do with our hands on this thing?
I know. I don't know. Yeah, it's been a while. Has anything happened in NC State athletics world?
I could not tell you.
Kevin Keats got fired. Just got fired. That's new.
Oh yeah, I'm still mourning that. Has he been rumored anywhere? Is he doing anything? Has anyone gotten a KK pulse?
There were some rumors early, VCU and some other things, but I imagine he takes a year off and then gets back into it somewhere.
He'd probably do well somewhere like that.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do fine. He's a winner. Well, we're on to Will Wade, and really, we probably should have podcasted during the coaching search and all that stuff, just because. But nobody knew what was going on, and it was, I don't know, it would have felt disingenuous to just get out there and ramble for no reason.
I feel like you knew what was going on. You were dropping tidbits. It seemed like the chat was like very connected. And I feel like we didn't want to believe it as we were talking.
Yeah,
over that time period.
There's a lot of disinformation going on, which I think is funny because a lot of the other publications they came out originally against Will Wade, like they'll never go after Will Wade and all his issues and all his troubles and yada yada. I mean, IPS was like, this is not going to happen. They won't go for Will Wade. They're going to get this guy or this guy and a bunch of uninspiring names. I mean, Mike Bray's name was thrown around. I'm like, holy crap, if we do that. But
wasn't it kind of like
the pod chat what we could? But
wasn't the vibe like, oh, Boo's going to lean to Ryan Odom? There's a connection there.
Correct. Yeah.
Relatively safe.
Yeah. Safe to say, Boo.
Boo got that dog in him.
Yeah. I know. Like, Boo this was his chance, right? This was what I was saying earlier before it happened. Like, this was Boo's chance to make his mark on NC State athletics. And that sounds weird because he's been here a while, but nobody really knew what he had done, right? He kind of works in the background, and it's very open to criticism because he doesn't communicate very well with the people. I still think that's true, but he got it done. He got the guy that everybody wanted. My number one candidate. I don't know about you, but everybody else's number one candidate.
Oh, I felt like we were finally serious about sports again.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, it's the first time that I can ever remember, honestly, that I really feel like we went out and got the best possible guy out there. The best, like our number one candidate. There was no nonsense. We were ahead of everything, right? It just seemed like it was so well run and targeted, and they did their homework, and they ended up with the best guy, and the guy that symbolizes, hey, we're serious about basketball. And that is shown because the money has shown up, the NIL has come through. He is getting guys out of the portal that, I mean,
you remember when it was like the first week of him being here, and someone, I can't remember if it was Rivals or whoever, like tweeted something that was like, look how bad Will Wade's transfer class is so far. And then I think I saw one the other night that was like, we have 5 top 150 prospects from the portal. Like, it's like one of the best classes in the nation. And
yeah,
I wanted to go dig that thing up and be like, you okay, bro? Like,
I forgot what that guy's name was. Something Benji or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it's come up quite a few times, and it pops up every once in a while.
Yeah,
on the For You tab. It's like, oh, you remember this? You're like, yeah, thanks.
Just such a bizarre take. It's like the dude's been here a couple days, man.
Right. I mean, yeah. What do you expect? Now he's gotten Darian Williams, Texas Tech. He's gotten Lubin from Carolina. That hurts. That hurts them bad. Just hurts their feelings.
It's still weird to me. Like, I saw the picture of him in the Carolina jersey and in the NC State jersey last night. I was like, man, I'm so used to him going the opposite direction recently. The last time anyone wore an UNC jersey and then played for us was that point guard that we got in a bunch of flack for pointing out and being like, yo, maybe don't wear a UNC jersey.
Yeah, Jarkel. Yeah, yeah.
Jarkel, yeah.
Everybody jumped on me, and I'm like, maybe you shouldn't do that. And they're like, well, leave him alone. He's a Carolina fan.
Oh my God.
No. But yeah, I mean, we're serious about basketball, and it feels good, man. It feels really good. It's surprising to me. I can't remember the last time there's been this level of excitement about basketball. But at the same time, it feels like it's warranted. You got the best coach that you could have gotten, in my opinion, and you've got the money commitments, and you're bringing in dudes. Like, it's exciting, and I don't, and we'll get to it. I don't know when the last time we were more excited about basketball than football, and that's wild to me, and that's amazing what that level of commitment to hoops can do. Everybody kind of reinvigorated because the damn basketball program was lifeless.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it, and I think we've had this debate a lot in the pod chat recently about the lack of people showing out, lack of crowd for the banner ceremony.
Yeah.
Against, I don't know, UC Upstate or some chump school. And, you know, my take was that people we knew that it was a fluke, right? And nobody's tied to the team turns over so much. And you're sure you brought O'Connell back and a couple of those guys, but it was just not a lot to get excited about, right? And I think it's different now. You got a guy. You got a guy. Everybody loves this guy. Everybody knows he's a guy who can coach. He can get it done, and it's exciting. I think you'll see that level of excitement again, and people are rightfully excited about basketball. And
Yeah,
it feels good.
I haven't once heard anyone talking about Will Wade being afraid of UNC or Duke or being in this neighborhood and all this stuff. I was like, he just comes across as a killer. He's a little bit of a weirdo, which I totally appreciate. I remember when he was at VCU, and I heard he sets the temperature in everyone's hotel room to a certain temperature because it's for the optimal sleeping.
67 degrees. I tell my wife that all the time. Like, 67 degrees. That's what you want to sleep in.
Yeah, that would. Proven. My wife would be like an Eskimo outfit if that happened. But I was like, that's a guy who cares like that much. Like, that's crazy. But it's also that's someone who wants everyone pushing and winning all the time. And then, I thought he seemed really candid during interviews. He was talking about how like Boo targeted him and how they got in touch and all that stuff, which I thought was interesting. But even recently, just like he just gives that vibe of he's just like, this guy is serious. And it just like, my thing for the last few years has been like, I'll check in on basketball in February. Like, I don't want to waste my time watching it. But I was like, as soon as we hired him, I was just like, man, I'm going to be glued in all season. I'm going to be excited to watch this. I don't know what this team is going to look like composition wise, especially with the transfer era. But, it just seems like, I think we were so worried that Boo would not really care too much, or maybe Boo was, rumored to be looking around to other schools. So it's like, what, you're not going to make a risky hire, but he just went out and was just like, no, okay. Like we're getting this guy.
Look, he did his homework, right? And that's all you can ask for. And one of the best quotes that I heard from Will Wade, and there's been a lot of them, but I saved this one for this particular reason. And it was, I don't even know what the date was on this one. This was a while back, but new NC State coach Will Wade as the keynote speaker closing out the Silver Waves Club Global NIL Conference in San Antonio. Will Wade said, "You guys have heard a lot of speakers today. I'm the only one who could have spoken at an NIL conference 5 years ago." And he's referencing the old LSU strong ass offer incident, right?
Doesn't it seem so quaint now?
I love it though. Because he's owning it, right?
Yeah.
And he owned it the whole process. He's like, yeah, hey, we learned, made some mistakes. We learned some lessons. We did this, that, the other. And he's like, he wasn't hiding behind it.
I think that McNeese State gig did a world, a lot for him. I think he was saying on some of those podcasts how, it kind of served up reality to him. And, I think it can't go unnoticed, right? That a former AD of ours or assistant AD was at McNeese, right? That was the connection there. So maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, man, we just, had to suffer through the ups and downs of the Gottfried era, the downs and ups and the downs of the Keats era. You get the title, You get that monkey off your back, and then, coming out of the desert is Will Wade waiting for you. And it's like the ideal time. I feel like the ACC is ripe for the picking. And, if State, I'm still, I feel like the last time we were talking about how much money do you put in for, football or basketball, right? How much of the house money and all this stuff. And it feels like State has its crap together right now, at least on the basketball side of the house. And, it's just exciting. Also, it doesn't help that football did everything possible to not make you interested in football.
Yeah.
So the Wade hire could not have come at a better time.
Yeah, I agree. It really, I don't know. It's really put a jolt into the fan base, and it's a sport where you can win in. And he's bringing in guys from Power 5 programs, right? I mean, I know Copeland was at McNeese, but he's at Syracuse before that, and
when I watched us play him, he was like such a shit talker.
Everybody hated him. Yeah,
I know, and I remember thinking at the time, I literally just thought out loud. I said, "Man, we never have a guy like that. Right. Like this guy is so ridiculous in how he's acting." I was like, I would love to have that kind of vibe at State. I said maybe it'll get old. And then when I saw that he was at McNeese, I was like, well, this is going to be hilarious if this comes full circle after he was just shit stirring that whole game.
Yeah, bringing in recruits at the high school level. I mean, he's got Ben Allen Lubin. He's
connected to like the number 2 prospect. I didn't catch his name earlier. Josh something? Hold on, I'll go back and look.
Oh, yeah, the 2026 kid. And then, Trey Holloman from Michigan State. I mean, he's bringing in guys from real programs.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. I'm happy they're finally taking it serious, and it just feels like we finally got our stuff together. Now, how does that impact everything else will be interesting to see. But Will Wade season, man, it's great. Just big fan. I'm happy happy how this is going down. I don't know if you've paid attention to baseball, but I do want to touch on it because the baseball season just ended.
No, I tried to catch a couple games this last week and I completely missed it.
Yeah, Pac lost in the regional final. They had to beat Auburn twice. And there's been a lot of the conversation has been pretty hot in the pod chat about baseball and about A-Event and whatnot. And to me, my take was, and I watched this team early in the year. I'm like, oh man, this team's not good. They're not going anywhere. So I was surprised at what position they were in by the end of the year. I know it was disappointing. They could have, you beat Stanford and you put yourself in position to win the ACC, and you just laid a complete egg after going on the road and taking that Clemson series. But to me, I get the A-Event criticism, and I don't really know where I stand on it at this point. But it works both ways. Like, I don't think that team was very good, and they sure got a lot out of them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's his fault for not having the best team, but also, give him credit for getting the most out of them. They squeezed that lemon as much as they could. And I really think they did. There was some weird stuff going on with D-Rock and some of the other guys, but I don't know. I didn't expect this team, watching this team early in the year, I didn't expect them to go as far as they did and to be in the position they did. They closed the season strong. They didn't do anything great. Right? They didn't manufacture runs when they needed to at the end of the year. They don't have an AMAC or a Cozart.
How many bad bunting decisions did they make?
A couple bad bunting decisions. I mean, some just things that we're not good at, right? We're not the best small ball team, as people always say. And when you don't have that level of player that we've had in the recent past, then I think you got to be sharper on there, and they just weren't, right? It is what it is.
What happened to that dude that went to LSU?
Tommy White.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
He was having a good year at LSU, but I forgot what happened after that.
Yeah. Is Elliott Avon, was he Dave Doran before Dave Doran? Like, the way you just described he put this team together, but he maximized that team at the same time, right? So it's like, comes up short a little bit at the end every time. Consistent career. seems to get the most he can out of the guys, yet just missing that final thing. But it has had more success because at least with College World Series appearances, I feel like that's, he's done more in a postseason than Dave has.
Tommy White, drafted second round, 40th overall. The Oakland A's is now at a high A affiliate, Lansing Lugnuts, batting 327 home runs in 128 at-bats.
Well, as someone who just recently watched Bull Durham all the way through for the first time in his life, I feel like this is a real Bull Durham situation.
Yeah. he can hit it.
I got a Porsche.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I don't know. Just wanted to say that. I don't really have a whole lot of baseball analysis, but since the season just ended, we had to bring it up. I don't know. I don't know where I stand on it even. I would think we would need to get somebody younger who's more into the NIL era, and then you see what that level of enthusiasm does for basketball. How does that get to other sports, right? And baseball is one of those.
It's kind of like can you nail it down where you can get this excitement that's like consistent throughout the year, right? Like football or baseball leads you into the prime time of getting into fall camp with football, basically, right? Then you've got basketball that kicks you over in the spring. Then baseball continues it along, right? Like I don't know. It seems like we're so close to just having it figured out. I was like wondering the other day, like, does the Will Wade hire send a signal to the Dorans and Avents that like the expectation is like we want to be elite at something?
Yeah, I mean, it might, honestly. If I am one of those guys, I am feeling the pressure, right? I mean, you can make the argument that Kevin Keats just did what Kevin Keats did, right? They had to run the banner, the Final Four, and then gets fired the year later. I don't think anybody should be comfortable. Right? Don't get complacent.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some level of pressure to it. I'm curious what happens this offseason with the baseball team. I feel like, and we've kind of said this before with Doran too, so it's very apropos analogy, that Avent steps down at the last minute and kind of tries to force Boo's hand to give the program to Chris Hart. I don't know if that's good or not. I know former players who rave about Hart and say that he will win. He's passed up bigger jobs, head jobs to stay here and take over after Avent.
I don't know enough. Has he gotten more responsibilities over the time? Like, I mean, is he
I think he
head coach in waiting?
He pretty much runs the show, but I don't know where that stands. With the NIL stuff, and I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns on the baseball side of it, right?
It also just seems to me like basketball, between the three, right, and include women's basketball in this too, right? But just because of the fact that men's basketball brings in some percentage of revenue, it has a smaller roster. It seems like it's easier to go full in there and then maybe hope your other sports can kind of get it right from time to time. I just don't know if that's like the formula that we're doing here. It's so hard to understand. It just doesn't. I was saying it earlier. It just doesn't help that Dave kind of black boxed the program this spring, and
we'll get to that. I don't want to jump in hard at a second.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's like it. If you're gonna have to take that approach in those sports, does it make sense that yes, we're investing in that, and it's not actually a signal to you to be worried about your job, Dave or Elliot or whomever? Like both basketball coaches that we have right now are elite for us, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, there's been some moves. O'Connor, the Virginia coach, who has been extremely successful there, just left to go to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And then now there's a bit of a conundrum down at Wake Forest with homeboy dropping slurs, getting caught.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what's going to happen there. They put out a statement today that, hey, we're sorry, blah blah blah. But
Little old Wake Forest.
yeah,
Wow.
F them. Oh, yeah, I can't stand them. Oh, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens over this offseason with baseball. But I feel like something is inevitable. I mean, Avent's old and he's been hanging on forever. But I don't know when this is his life, right? So I don't know when he's ready to make that change and let that go. That's kind of the interesting part to me.
Is college baseball a sport where if you were to say this is my final year, like everyone's gonna flee, or in this environment, would that be like a rallying call? It's like if you did that in football or basketball, like you risk people being like, I'm not gonna stick around.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. There's so much weird about baseball. And like his 10 years, he's been here forever, and Hart's been here forever, and Chrysler, and they still can't figure out how to get the stadium upgraded. And it's like,
did they ever put that crazy AstroTurf colored grass in? I remember.
The picture last year, we were like, we were all like, this looks crazy.
Yeah, that's actually in
green, and I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, still there. That whole baseball project, and I know there's some guys in the project can talk to that better than we can. That it's disappointing that we're still here, right? I mean, I was watching the game the other night, and the Auburn game, and my wife's sitting there next to me, and she says, "That's a nice stadium. Are they all this nice?" Because we were watching like the State Louisville game, and that stadium looks really nice. And then we watched the Mississippi State game, and that's a really nice stadium. And then we go to Doak, and it's like, this place is a dump, man. It doesn't hold up. So again, on the Avent argument, you can argue that he's done more with a lot less than everybody else.
Yeah.
So,
but isn't it? I mean, baseball to me is just like, it's the ball, it's the bat. What is it? What does he say in Bull Durham? Right? Like you throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball. But no, what I'm saying is right. It's kind of like the old mentality about football too. It's like, why do we need all these facilities, man? You need a place to work out. You need a place to go play. Like baseball to me would kind of fall under that. But I mean, I wouldn't. It's whatever. Like we just don't have that kind of money that drops into those sports, and I don't know. Especially now with the house money and everything, it's like I want money going to talent, not stupid niceties.
I mean, I get that, but at some level, you have to upgrade that damn place. I mean, it is just across the street. The tennis complex looks way nicer. I mean, it's right across the parking lot, and then you got the Doak, which
got to get that Trey Turner money.
Yeah, see, and there's all kinds of weird stuff about that. Like I don't know. I've heard rumors about all the players, and they want somebody to take over, and just different levels of commitment. I don't know.
Well, maybe once the endowment's getting taxed, we'll just get some piece of that. Then once it's free reign,
right?
I don't know. Yeah, you. I mean, it's a good point. It's just, I mean, that place is a dump. But
we should have had an emergency pod when Randy Woodson retired, and we hired a new chancellor because I was celebrating.
Yeah, I think we were too. We would have had explicatives, like it would have been an explicit cutoff. We would have gotten sued.
I've made my feelings for Woodson well known, and his constant denial of any comment anytime something happens, and he's just like, "Don't ask me."
What would I know?
Yeah. And
me, 13 other teams voted yes. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, what a weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
New guy, supposedly pretty good. Athletics fan, supposedly has a good relationship with Good Night, so that'll be interesting to see if that helps. But yeah, there has been a lot going on. We really should have had a pod for that one. This is probably the busiest off season
in quite some time.
Oh,
So,
like you're having a baby or something.
like there's a baby on the way. I had a deal I was working on for 2+ years that we closed that basically almost killed me. I was working 90 hours a week at the end. I was burned out. And it also like can we segue to football now?
Yeah,
Like,
go ahead.
but I would just say like that's the thing too is like when Doran decided not to have a spring game, it was kind of like, well, what are we going to speculate on, right? Like a couple little tidbits here. Um, the we had Anai get fired. We had the Roper. We got I can't even think of the DC's name right now.
Elliot, yeah.
Yeah, Elliott. Like it was such a weird football offseason and everything going on off field for me. I was just like, I can't care about this. It's just so weird. I was just telling my wife, it's just so strange how it seems like that nuked my desire to be interested in state sports until the Will Wade hire, and then I was like, well, now I need to pay attention.
Yeah, now we're back.
Yeah.
No, so it's interesting. Somebody put it in the pod chat this morning. Thanks, James. It said, I don't think I've experienced less buzz. 11 a.m. this morning, just random as hell. I've experienced less buzz for football in this chat since it started than this year. I don't know what's caused. And I think it's interesting to me. It's pretty apparent. No spring game, right? Kills any kind of conversation about it because who the hell are we supposed to be talking about? Last year's just utter disappointment on the offensive side of the ball. You bring in all these guys and you do absolutely nothing with them offensively. The uninspiring coordinator hires. We just saw what coaching hires can do to the enthusiasm of a program. And then you're like, yeah, we're going to give this to Kurt Roper because we want whatever this NC State offense is. I don't know what's going to come from it. Zero
I feel
names, right?
Yeah.
Like all of this stuff. And then I think everybody kind of feels like the end is near for Dave.
And you had all the transfer out, right? All the defensive backs leaving, right? Like the ECU game itself could not have broken my spirit more.
Yeah, it's just hard to, get excited about anything. I mean, we know that the other outlets are out there, sugarcoating what little information they have, and I just don't. I'm not going to do that. We've never done that in this pod. I'm not going to get out there and fluff anybody for no reason. It's been disappointing, and it's hard to have that excitement. And I don't think we're alone in that. I think that's pretty much the universal feeling right now is that, temper our expectations, right? The schedule looks tough. You're looking at 6-6, 7-5, maybe 8-4 if everything falls your way. Are you getting excited about that? I don't know.
Well, all you hear is the defense is atrocious. And, there's obviously a lot of turnover. But, I mean, this was not a good defense last year, right? Like, I'm still of the camp or of the opinion that we brought in Tony Gibson because we saw we had a defensive line deficiency. Like, we didn't even have enough bodies. And they were like, let's just run the 3-3-5. And it lined up perfectly with all-time linebackers showing up. We put together a couple classes with the defensive line, right, where it seemed like everything was coming apart together. But then last year, you look at it, you're just like, damn, like, what are we building here? I don't know what Tony Gibson was doing recruiting-wise. And so it feels now you look on the other side, right? You've got Hollywood, Bailey, Rogers, Jolie, right? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, are we going to be like a UNC team where it's like just pedal to the metal on offense and who cares about defense?
But we should
like defense is going to get weird.
That's the part that everybody's kind of disconnected about. We should have done that last year, right? Because we knew the defense wasn't going to be that. You're not going to be that same Peyton Wilson defense you had before.
You knew you were going to be a standard deviation at least down, right?
Yeah.
Like you had to know that.
And you roll out the same thing, and I think that's why people were so frustrated, and that's why there's not a lot of enthusiasm. And I also think that's why it's super short-sighted to cut everybody out and cut out the spring game. And we've been banging on the spring. I've been banging on the spring game, and that whole thing just needs to be a huge event. Make it a big deal. Even if it's not a game, it's a skills challenge or something. Make it about family. Make it about your people coming to the stadium.
Yeah,
getting them involved and getting that excitement. But you've got, and it feels complacent to me on the coaching staff's side but we don't want to put anything on film. Like, come on now, we know that's so stupid. It's you don't do it anyway because your spring game is vanilla as can be, but it's still part of the experience, and it just Yeah,
Yeah.
really let you down there.
What did I see the last 2 years that gave away any hint of what we were gonna be like, right? Like, I mean, you're always having your ones going against your fours.
Yeah,
Like it's not. There hasn't been anything there. Feel like I just thought it was such a bizarre excuse to say, well, we don't want kids getting film and then getting transferred or poached. And it's like, listen, brother, I hate to make you aware of this, Dave, but at least on defense, ain't no one poaching this talent. Now, if you're afraid that Noah Rogers is somehow going to get swayed or Smothers or Bailey, I was like, it doesn't. You've already held on to them at that point. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm fine. Okay, you want to say we're making a lot of drastic changes? That's fine. I better see a very drastic product change then when we see it in the fall, right? Like if we roll out there and it's like I formation, like Dave Doran, like I was listening to IPS right before this, and they were like, well, usually the OC gets fired and you retain someone that's been around the coach for a while. They're going to do what the coach wants. And I was like, well, what would that be? Like,
yeah. The NC State offense.
Yeah. But if it's like that Cutcliffe Duke offense from old, at least, it's like, okay, it's 15 years late or whatever, but it's, if we're going to play with tempo and we're going to spread the ball and we're just going to like focus and hammer and try to get plays, like, great. But if you go out there and do ball control nonsense again, that's gonna be tough. Because I mean, it feels like you brought in Elliott so you can have like a multiple defense and try to like gin up turnovers basically by being weird. But you're probably also going to give up a lot of big plays. It feels like the kind of like that Huxtable era where it was like the defense could not win you a game.
Correct. And there's no chance, right? No chance of that.
Yeah.
Somebody else brought it up. Going 0-5 in the postseason in mostly winnable games, how can you go into a postseason that track record with your most recent game being so deflating? And yeah, I agree, right? I mean, losing that ECU game, it meant everything to them with a freaking interim coach and I keep coming back to that stupid picture, and I know it's just a picture, but the picture of the teams.
Yep.
ECU guys all wearing the same. I don't know, they're wearing suits. I think they're all wearing suits.
They're wearing like the track suits.
All track suits, that's right. And then our guys come out there looking like they just rolled out of bed. And it's just like one team wanted to be there. One team was on a vacation. And at some point, people start to pick up on this. This is the same thing with Kevin Keith. People picked up on the nonsense. I don't think State fans are stupid, despite what a lot of people think. I think they're very in tune with what's the realistic expectations of our program. Now, we could get excited, and there's a lot of optimism here and there, but at some point, you're just like, this is not enough. So I'm going into it with tempered expectations. I see the schedule.
Oof.
I don't see it as favorable, and my current stance is 6-6 is probably most likely. And little things about it, right? Going to Wake Forest, new coach, new system, new pretty much everything there. Like, we already struggled there, and now we have to deal with something else. I don't know, but I think this all kind of plays together, right? Everybody's Dave is very lucky that everybody's excited about basketball, because I think that's taking the eye off of football right now, because I think the conversation would be very much more intense had we not hired Will Wade.
Don't you think like losing as a 14-point favorite to ECU would be like the death nail?
Oh, I mean, if they lose this game to ECU to open the season, Carter Finley will be empty. The parking lots will be full. It'll be empty in the stadium. Like, you just can't do that. And I don't. Somebody put in there like bet the ECU money line just because Dave will never cover, right? It's just very. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't have a great feeling about it, even though we should have a great feeling about it, right?
Yeah, it's hard to get a vibe of like what's going on. What a weird schedule, by the way, right? I mean, You got Campbell. That's the real only cupcake on here, technically. You open with a rival who you just lost to in an embarrassing fashion, so that should be motivating, right? Then you get Virginia. I don't know what they're going to be this year. They disappoint. I actually drove to a game to watch them last year, and they broke my heart against UNC. And then you got Wake, like you just said. Who knows what's going on there? Duke, I I still feel like we should have beat Duke last year. That was,
Absolutely should have been Duke last year.
you know, Virginia Tech. Like,
Duke just paid $3 million for their quarterback, or allegedly.
oh my God, yeah, yeah. So we're probably gonna win. Like it's just weird. You look at the first 6 games, and you're like, this could go horribly, or you could kind of just tread water and go 4-1, 4-2, and be like, okay, like, well, where are we? But then you get into Notre Dame, Pitt, Georgia Tech, Miami, Florida State, North Carolina. That is just, there's just no ramp up, really.
Nope. I don't know what to expect. It's going to be all over the place. I'm going to get to some of these questions because we've got a bunch in the pod chat.
Oh my God, people ask questions. I thought we were doing this as a secret pod today.
I know. No, and we're live streamed by.
Oh God. Well, I hope everyone's enjoying me blowing my nose.
Glad I put pants on. Based on the Instagram picture, has anyone on the team but Snell played golf before? No, you can tell by how most of them are holding the club. But it's also awkward for those dudes who are like 6'5" plus trying to hold a golf club that is made for a normal sized person.
What have I missed? Where is this?
It's in the pod chat in the
Okay.
chat section. Yeah, there's Instagram pic. There's a video. Well, Wade got a decent little action. He can hit it. Some things I'd work on, but he has definitely played some golf before.
Yeah, you think they would at least show them how to hold the club, right? Like, give them a grip. Give them a grip to work with.
Be an athlete. Hit it.
Rate Wade's follow through.
Yeah, that's a great one. The last pod was 12:30 when ACC champion Final Four Coach Kevin Keatts led NC State basketball, which are big shoes to fill. How well do you think Will Wade handles filling the Gucci shoes?
Can we send him a pair?
Confident. Yeah, that would be great. I think Will Wade's gonna wear his black New Balance dad sneakers that he's wearing all the time. I'm cool with it. He's not gonna worry about what other.
I don't know about Will Wade's posture, man.
Yeah, I mean he's tall. He's a big guy, so he's kind of he's already kind of goofy, pear shaped. But it's good contact. He hit it. Will's cracking up already. He's turned red. He's laughing so hard.
I don't know if it's because I can't breathe from this cold I'm getting over or what.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what Will Wade, if he limits the gear that the public can get. I don't think he gives a rat's ass.
Oh yeah.
But it's great seeing him all over the place. He's been everywhere, and his interviews are great. And the national media is talking about NC State like they are serious, and it feels good. It feels good. So I think he's going to fill those Gucci shoes very well.
Let me ask a question. When is the right time to bring my daughter to these football games or basketball games? How soon is too soon for those baby ears?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not enjoyable. Most of the time it's hot, and they haven't experienced it. 2, I think I brought my oldest when he was 2. I mean, my wife would take him to the tailgates and stuff before, and then she would leave and go to the game. But I think he went to his first game when he was 2, and it was like one of those snoozer games where I knew it wasn't going to be loud, and got to see the band and all that stuff. Enjoyed it, and yeah, it was probably about that time.
Oh, so you took him to a senior day game?
No, it was a game we won, so I don't remember which.
Then it can't be a senior day.
Yeah, it can't be a senior day game. But yeah, like 2 is a good age. Like I think that's when they start to see Mr. Wolf and they can walk around and do all those things.
Good to know.
When was the last time we were more optimistic about basketball than football? It's been a while.
Probably Gottfried.
Also, somebody said 2019, and I don't know. Again, self-proclaimed terrible historian for all things, not just NC State, so I have no idea. It would probably be the Gottfried era, I would take a guess.
It's got to be. I think we were probably most excited season 2, right? We would have just come off the Sweet 16 or Elite. Where did we get Sweet 16? So that would have been 2012, 2013. So then was Doran hired in 2012?
Yeah, it had to have been somewhere in the Gottfried era for me because it was like I remember Tyler Lewis and the McDonald's All American class coming in, and honestly, one of my all time terrible, I don't want to say takes, but terrible whatever was the Ryan Harrow. Like I thought Ryan Harrow was going to be legit.
He's in my head. He still is.
He's still making mixtapes somewhere on the playground probably now.
The-
Man, I was excited to watch that kid grow and play and whatever, and it just never turned into a thing.
Okay, 2012, 2013 season. It's right after the Sweet 16. It's the year we fire TOB, and it's Doran's first season was 2013. So I would have to imagine that's the last time I was excited.
That's what somebody else said in the chat. 2013. I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
What else we got here? I have so much to say. Let me think this out. We're getting a live episode on YouTube. Yeah, sorry about that. What is your ceiling and floor for both football and hoops in this upcoming season? What's your floor for NC State football?
Dude, I could see us going 2-10. I'm trying to give myself something. I mean, it just feels like it's probably the worst case scenario, assuming everyone's healthy, is like probably 5 wins, right? Like this is just a weird, gross schedule, and that defense has me very nervous.
All right, so you could lose to ECU.
Yep.
Could lose to Virginia.
I don't think we're losing to Virginia.
I don't think it was Virginia. I'm going to say that. You could lose at Wake. It's very much within historical trends. Could lose at Duke.
Manny Diaz has his number.
Yeah. Virginia Tech.
Loss.
I don't know. Brent Pry is...
They got Drone, but I don't really think Drone's that good.
I do like drones. All right, you could lose that game. So we'll say that. So you're going to beat Campbell. So that's 2. Could lose to Notre Dame. Could lose at Pitt. Could lose to Georgia Tech.
I think we will lose to Georgia Tech.
Could lose to Florida State. Yeah, I mean, 2-10 is certainly on the table. I don't think it's real.
Here's what you're banking on. By the end of the season, Miami's given up, Florida State's given up, UNC's given up, right? That gets you to that 5.
Yes.
Right?
That bye week in second week in November is huge. Like our bye weeks are actually good this year because they're kind of spaced out a little bit. You know, we got a couple games early. We got 6 games early in the bye week, 2 games in the bye week. But then you're right. Like all 3 of those teams could be on quit watch, and you could have Norvell on the hot seat. Who knows what Belichick is? Oh man, we didn't talk about Belichick and his.
Yeah, I thought we were.
Yeah. And then Miami. Who knows with Miami? They should have the talent, but who knows what they're.
I think the one thing going for this football season is the away game schedule, right? Is Wake Forest not exactly a killer atmosphere by any means, but a historic problem.
Yes.
Duke, same thing, not a crazy atmosphere. Notre Dame, no chance for us, in my opinion. But then Pitt, kind of hit or miss as well, atmosphere-wise. So it's like, and then Miami, same thing. Like, so it's not like you're going into a bunch of death trap road games.
There's a lot of 50-50 games, yeah.
Yeah. Like, if we inverted it slightly, right, like, I mean, going to, like, at Florida State is probably the equivalent of at Notre Dame, I guess. But, like, I think this is a schedule we probably... Yeah. I just think, upside-wise, it just feels... This is the worst thing to say, is, like, it's like, well, upside, I feel like, is probably, like, 8 wins. Like...
It's crazy because, like, what you're trying to say is the four away games are all at, well, 5 away games, but 4 of them are at stadiums that could be empty.
Yeah.
And historically have been empty, even though we haven't been historically good at Wake or at Duke, but they're not. It's not like you're going to Virginia Tech. You're not going to, Georgia Tech on a Thursday night or, at Florida State. I think those are all winnable games.
Yeah.
Other than Notre Dame, they're all winnable games, to be honest. So that you can see the flip side. But I need a lot of early success and a lot of change for me to get to that level of optimism.
Like, is it
I'll
crazy?
tell you about week 3 where we're going to finish, and I think I'll get it right.
Yeah. I just feel like if this was like if this was the Jacoby Brissett or Ryan Finley teams, I'd be like, man, we're cakewalking this schedule. And
Right?
like that's
Yes.
what's
Yeah.
so crazy is like I just don't know what we got.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where's that dude on defense that's supposed to make me feel like we got this? And that's why it kind of feels like it floors in. But if CJ Bailey is like super elite, I've always said an elite quarterback gets you 7 wins. So, you know,
I think, and there's a couple of us in the pod on this train that CJ Bailey has a lot of room to improve, and he got a lot of hype, and he has talent, and I'm not trying to disparage the kid, but he's got a lot of things he needs to improve on.
do you think it helps him to not have a KC, Dakari, etc.? Like it's like a condensed wide receiver room. It's a condensed running back room now. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like you're not trying to throw to 8 dudes now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does help. I think you'll still see Justin Jolie being your leading receiver. He was last year. I think he will be again.
You don't think Noah's gonna do it?
I think if you go targets wise, it's going to be Jolie. I'm not saying it should be, but I think it's going to be.
Well, that's the thing is like last year, right? We thought Jolie was gonna get all these targets, and it still felt like what does it look like now without the force feed of KC? Just annihilating touches for everybody.
They're going to force feed Smothers, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, do it. I don't care. Run him as many times as you can.
Yeah, get that kid the ball.
That dude is awesome.
Yeah. And maybe Jonathan Paylor turns into something, right?
I don't know. I didn't get to see him in the spring.
Nobody knows.
It's so hard to know. I don't. The thing we usually harp on is like, what's the deal with the offensive line? No Belton,
Right.
no McKay. It should fall apart. I've been told. So I don't know. That's the other thing. Is like it's just, are we going to be functional? I don't know.
We still have Anthony Carter. Yeah. All right, next question. What would be a success?
Oh wait, no, hold on.
Go ahead.
What was didn't they ask for floor and ceiling in basketball too?
Oh yeah. I mean, our floor for basketball is winning the ACC. We're going to
Wow.
steamroller, buddy.
What did Will Wade say? I'll just quote him from the press conference, right? He was like, "We're going to be a top 25 team or like a top I can't remember what he said,
I don't remember.
but I was smoking what he was selling that day.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
What's the floor?
The truth.
ACC title. No problem.
No.
Which one? Regular season and ACC tournament? Okay.
Yeah, absolute floor. We don't have a schedule, so I can't.
Could you-
There's a couple of games that are gonna be tough, and we got Kansas coming here. There's a couple of games that'll be good. But yeah,
Could you imagine
dominating.
if we go from winning ACC tournament to not going to ACC tournament to winning ACC tournament?
It would be the biggest roller coaster of any athletic program.
I would be like, I told you.
I call it June 2nd, 3rd, whatever day it is. Yeah. When the schedule comes out and we get a little closer to basketball season, I'll give you my floor and ceiling, but I feel really good about this roster that he's put together and still putting together.
I feel great about his inbound passes.
Yeah, when they actually call timeout and then draw up a play, like it's going to be a real play. Like this is going to be exciting. There's going to be no timeout when Darian Sebron's running down the court with an open layup.
He's going to be openly negotiating with players on the other team for next season. Like, it's going to be great.
Sliding in the DMs. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I like he brought in real coaches, right? We didn't even talk about the coaching staff, but he didn't bring in financial advisors and inside school buddies. Brought in real coaches. He brought in a real GM. It's been great. And the best part about it, honestly, is that everybody has been so off the scent on all the recruits. And he even mentioned it in I think he did an interview with Corey at Pack Pride, and he said, "I got you on that one, didn't I?" Right? Because they were throwing out all these like, "Oh, we're going this guy," and then boom, home slice comes in from left field. You're like, "Oh snap!" And then the same thing happened with PJ Haggerty and Darian Williams. Everybody was on. It's going to be Haggerty. It's going to be Haggerty, and then they flipped Darian Williams, who was apparently committed to Kansas at the last second. They sniped him. and just nobody knows, and that's why I think it's great. I think it's refreshing, and
Do you think they are purposely misleading them, or
yes,
is it just no one has connections right now?
they have the connection because they're all forced. Like,
Yeah.
they make the intros and blah blah blah. But I don't know if they have the relationships to
Yeah.
the trust there. But also, F it. I prefer it this way, right? Just I'd like to be surprised. All right, I don't need everybody and their brother knowing and teasing us and whatever and being wrong about it. Going back to it, we were still the only ones out there that were saying that we would hire Will Wade. Everybody was, no, they'll never do it. They'll never do it. And I really wanted to record a podcast and put them all on blast when that happened, but I'm older and wiser now.
I had to just go check just to confirm. Des Kitchings is still the OC at UVA, so we get a Des Kitchings sighting again this year.
That's wild. Who would have known?
Tony Elliott, just here to keep everyone employed, I guess.
I mean, Des Kitchings certified excellent OC according to James Henderson. It's like it's the players that were his problem. It wasn't
Look,
the offensive
I'll,
coordinator.
I'll take him back as in a heartbeat as like recruiting GM.
Yeah, let him be our running backs recruiter or whatever he was doing that when he was letting every running back in the state at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring
Pay him like a coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Anyways.
Yeah,
so.
and it's funny watching like Aaron Henry got promoted. I think he's a DC somewhere now. He was our safeties coach. That didn't work out. George McDonald's, I think he's
I think he's still at Illinois.
Yeah, I think he just got promoted too. He might be co-OC again. If I'm
Now,
not mistaken.
I'm about to blow your mind. Did you have Bo Hines being on the presidential Bitcoin committee? Did I text you? Okay, so I am like a CNBC nerd, and I was just sitting there listening to a random crypto summit that Trump was having, and he's like, and hey, we got Bo Hines over there. And I said, there's no way. That cannot be our guy. And it was our Bo Hines. And he said he got into crypto because we went to that Bitcoin bowl down in, where was it, St. Pete? Or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's where I heard about it. And I just thought, hey, man, this could be a big thing. Anyways. NC State, man. Our tentacles are everywhere.
Mm-hmm. All right.
What other questions we got?
Yeah. What would be a successful season? So this is football. What would be a successful season? And then what would be a record that gets Dave fired?
A successful season would be the quarterback making it through a full season. Have we
I'm
had
gonna
that?
say 8-4 is a successful season.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be so pissed if we're 7-5.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be one of those ones
Yeah.
where it's just like doesn't feel good.
Because 7-5 means you almost were good, and like, where's the 7 coming from?
Where's the 5 coming from? That's what would really get people's goat. I mean, losing at Wake, losing at Duke, Notre
Probably
Dame,
lose every road game probably.
Miami. No, it would be losing at Wake, losing at Duke, losing at Notre Dame, losing at Miami, and then losing against Carolina. Like that 5 would just be.
I think losing
and
to
I know
UNC
Dave
might
has
be
got the-
fireable this year.
Yeah. Dave has got Carolina's number, and he knows that game's important, but like you could see us losing those 5.
You know, here's the problem, right? Every year I say it, Dave falls into the trap of like trying to like out machismo the other coach, right? And plays into their hands, right? Adazio, it happened every time with him. And I feel like Belichick is like the trap of Doran traps. It's like a honeypot for him. And it's like, oh, I can tell how tough this guy. Like, I don't know.
It's just so hard to predict without knowing anything that's gonna come onto the field. Right?
Wait, this is a more important question. Do we remember when the Bill Belichick buyout was, like where it shifted? And it's like in June, right?
It's if it wasn't June 1st, it's June 30th. Or
Okay.
31st, something 30th of June.
Because he may not even be coaching there by the time the season starts. He may be on his honeymoon.
Jordan Hutz. What would be the record that gets him fired? I think if you're a 6-6 and even 7-5, I think it's very tenuous.
I
think it's very tenuous. Now,
What's the buyout? That'll drive everything right now.
I don't think the buyout's going to be an issue. We did that math last year, and it was like, this is reasonable. But
I think he retires if it's.
I think he walks off before he gets fired.
I think he gave Roper this opportunity. Well, one, maybe Roper is like, yo, we're going to score points. We're going to go ham. And then
That's what
maybe
he said. Like, he said it, and he said, but so did Anai, and so did everybody else.
So here's my theory with Anai. The man was just too old. He'd hit the. He went over it like he was just like, I'm not going to be myself anymore. I'm going to be someone different. I'm losing time. And it didn't ever look like what we were expecting. Everyone hailed that hire when we had him. And so Kurt at least said the right things. But I also feel kind of like if Dave was retiring, he's kind of hooking Kurt up and giving him at least a season as OC again, which will open opportunities for him. So, it's just, if I was Dave, I don't know, man. Does he like this era? Because
he hates it. He's got to hate it.
You're the winningest coach. Do you really want to grind it out and go 4-8 and get fired? Like, that doesn't seem like his ethos, and he's rich enough. Like,
right.
I know everyone says, like, how can you walk away from that money? But it's kind of like, man, once you have that kind of money, it's whatever.
Right. Your generations are set.
Yeah.
I do think 7-5 is he's going to start feeling the pressure because of their ability to hire Will Wade. And it's a weird connection, but people are going to say, all right, well, you just did it for basketball. You went out and got a guy. Let's go get a guy for football. And I'm still fully on the Lincoln Riley bandwagon. Bring his ass to Raleigh when he wants out of Southern Cal, and they want him out of there. And if he has a disappointing season, bring his ass.
I will take him. I will take Urban Meyer. I don't care. Like, I just want to win. I don't care. I'll play that soft ass Lincoln Riley offense, and our defense will be whatever. We just saw that last year.
We'll put Heisman's in the trophy case.
Yeah, that would be. I think we might have to just quit the pod because we could never afford to say something bad about Lincoln Riley if he was hired.
I would not.
No,
he put 70 on Carolina. I'm still happy that I'm still celebrating that day that they just absolutely torched Carolina.
You call it the Riley and White pod.
Oh, look at you, man! God, you're mid-season form. Mid-season form. But again, 7-5 is. I think it starts to get sticky because I think people are going to start getting impatient. Another football question. Your prediction: at what point in the season will Dave ultimately lose the fan base? Could happen as early as at Wake Forest. Could happen as early as ECU if recent history. But I'm going to say we do okay at a night game in Carter Finley against the Pirates. But
I think if Georgia Tech beats the crap out of them, like
that's here.
Yeah, it's just the loss last year, and then like I don't know.
You know what's going to happen? They're gonna go through. They're going to be 5-1. They're going to win those first games. Lose to Notre Dame. Everybody's going to be excited. They're going to lose to Notre Dame. Have the week off. Maybe take split Pitt and Georgia Tech. Take 1-1 at 6-2 at the moment. Everybody's like, all right, we can do this. We're going to be in the hunt. And then you go to Miami and you get stomped. You lay an egg against Florida State. Then then Carolina. You're back to all right. We got to beat Carolina to be 7-5.
Dude.
I can totally see that happening.
I can tell you I've been so out of it. I forgot that SMU went 8-0 last season. So look, if SMU can do it, why can't we, Ev?
Because they have more money than we do.
But they just looked like peewees out there. Like it was just all, that super fun offense.
Huh? The guy Dave wanted to hire couldn't hire. Yeah.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Has our program been elevated since the Dave era, and is a job that would attract an exciting coach now? I think Dave has stabilized the program. We've talked about this ad nauseum. I think he has done a lot of good. He has not gotten over the hump. I don't know what it takes to get over the hump, but the new coach, yes. I mean, again, maybe it's kind of a loose, not a great analogy, but you just got the best coach out there, right? And I know football is different, and I know the money needed to be successful in football is also different. But I think it's a stable place. Dave's well respected. He's been here forever. We give coaches a long time to do their job. We give them the resources. I think it's a job where you can attract somebody. I don't know who that guy is, right? I'm still on the Lincoln Riley bandwagon,
Well, what if, let's
but I don't know
say,
who else. Like, who's the up and comer? Who's the rehab tour guy?
well, what if a Jamie Chadwell is hired? Does that mean the program was elevated or not? Because that's when
Um,
I'd be excited.
I'd still be excited about Chadwell. I'm a Chadwell guy. I think.
But like that's what it's kind of like. It's like football is a little bit different, right? Because you know, there's the program building aspect, but there's also the personality and like the just the
Right.
mentality, right? Chadwell's got a lot of those boxes checked, but I don't think everyone would be like, well, look at that. We hired the Liberty coach. But I feel like that would be like a really good hire. I think the program is definitely better off than when TOB was here, but it is running the risk of turning into the same situation, right?
Very.
But at least I don't know. One half of the team has a lot of talent right now, at least at skill player position. So it's just like maybe the expectations are just you just have to shift them really hard now in the NIL house payment era. Like it just
I think
seems
for
so long ago since Pac 14 and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see how we approach that. But we do need some new blood in there and new breed of excitement. For Chadwell, it'd be interesting. They went 13-1 his first year, then they went 8-4 last year. Will you know what does he do this year? Does he rebound and go 10-2 and kind of bring it back to where the level where he's
Yeah.
used to? Because that's typically what Liberty has been doing. They were 8-5, bunch under freeze, had the 10-1 season, but I think for Chadwell, it's important for him to have that bounce back year for him again to be the hot commodity because he didn't get a ton of looks this post off season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You have some other jobs that could be open, and a lot of it again is timing. I
Well,
think.
Ryan Day might be available.
Give me Ryan Day. He knows how to NIL it, right?
I just am curious if states what state can I do from a financial
Right.
perspective.
That's
Like
that's really where it stands.
this game is I feel like this game is obviously changing and frankly I feel like I'd rather you take a risk on an FCS or even like a D2 coach if you're going to spend like save the money for the staff. Like don't waste the money on head coaches and staff. Just put it towards the players.
Yeah.
Like if you can coach and we can give you a bunch of players, it doesn't really matter. You don't need a $10 million guy.
Agreed.
Bob Stitt, we'll bring him back. I don't know if he's even alive anymore. College of the
Still
Mines
alive.
or whatever.
I think he's still at the mines. Yeah. But I'm curious. I'm the dude who was just at Troy. Oh, I forgot his name already. And
That went to West Virginia?
did he go to West Virginia?
Troy Neal? Are you talking about him?
No. Summerall. John Summerall went to
Yeah.
Tulane. I think after Fritz went to Houston. I think that's where he is. But like he was the hot guy for a while. Yeah, he didn't get it. He didn't get anything. He got a Tulane job. It's okay. Like I don't know who that Will Wade is out there.
Oh, how about Riverboat Ron? We do the Bill Belichick. We bring in Ron Rivera. What?
About to kick you off this podcast.
Bill
you guys said
Cowher.
Dan Mullen, like Dan Mullen rehab tour. If he does it,
Look.
if he crushes it at UNLV, but he doesn't like to recruit. I don't know. So.
I don't care. I'll take Dan Mullen because I saw him beat the crap out of us. Okay, and it wasn't like it was like the super loaded. You know,
They're the greatest player of all time. So
that's fine. We've had like 5 of those, and we've never done anything with them.
fair enough. Yes, I think the program's been elevated. I think it would attract some people. And curious who that's going to be. I really don't have a hot board going. Speaking of hot board, fun fact: we put out the basketball hot board, and it was about the same as it was. I wrote it the year before. It was basically the same board. I wrote it when they were going to fire Keats after that the 2024 first round of this tournament. I was like, oh, or after the end of the regular season, I wrote the whole thing. Just added a couple guys to it, but
What a time to be alive.
yeah, great. Basketball. Can you discuss any of the backstory of Wade's search timeline hire? I think most of what I can talk about has been in the pod chat. I put it out there. Uh, I think everybody, I don't know if they're getting wrong information or they were purposely just putting clickbait out there about other coaches, but it was Wade from the beginning. They did do their homework. They did talk to Patino. They did talk to Odom. Boo does like Odom. Boo did like Patino. I think the people who were pretty much ponying up for all this were pushing for Will Wade. And I think that's kind of where we ended up. But they did do their homework. They did their due diligence. I don't think it was ever in jeopardy. I think it was a lot of mutual respect. Everybody's like, well, why isn't he signed yet? Well, he's still coaching. He's coaching in the NCAA tournament, and they got McNeese their first ever NCAA tournament win. So I don't know. If you have any specific questions, ask me in the pod chat, and I'll answer them. I'll answer them in there. I can't think off the top of my head.
Can't burn those sources.
No, I wouldn't. Other than getting back to AC tournament, any goals for a successful first season? Getting back to, oh yeah, I was like getting back to the AC tournament. Oh yeah, we didn't play in the ACC tournament this year.
That's what I'm saying.
That is a very, very low bar for success.
It's gonna be a TV movie if we get there, man. I'm telling you. If we win it, up, down, up, the Will Wade story.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like my enthusiasm is off the charts at the moment for basketball, but trying to be realistic about it, being competitively in the top 5 or like safely in the top 4 or 5 in the league would be a huge milestone for this program, because it always felt like we've been in the middle of the pack for like the last decade and never able to solidify being one of the programs in the conference. And I want to be one of the programs in the conference, if that makes any sense. We just hadn't had that before in a long time. And that's kind of my success metric, or from Kevin Keith, success. Taking shots at him. I don't care. Taking shots at him.
Man's not even here to defend himself anymore. Yeah, I think top 5 in the conference. Though I mean, there's like 20 teams now, so that's not as impressive as it sounds.
Well, it's more impressive, right?
I don't know. I mean,
it's more
I expect a lot of half the league feels like it's not trying to play basketball. So
where was the line of demarcation? Let me think of AC.
I'm looking at it from last year. It's pretty stark, right? The top 3 teams were 19, 18, and 18 wins. Then you had 3 at 13 wins. Then you had 11 and 10. Then you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams were 8 or 7 win. And then Cal, us in the back, 6, 5, 4, 3. God,
yeah, I want to be in that top 4. Like that to me is, I think that's a very achievable goal to be in there. Like, so Wake Forest was 4th. They won 21 games. Carolina won 23. Clemson was 3rd at 27. Like, being safely in that group to me is a big milestone, because we just haven't been there. It's always like we've been there for a little bit, but and then the rest of the games come out and we fall down. But SMU's being 5th in the conference last year, 6th in the conference last year. Like, how is SMU basketball better than we are? Right?
How did SMU football go 8-0? I can ask the same question. They're just the best damn team there ever was, and they didn't even ask for any money. They're like, we'll play for free, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I love that team.
That would be my goal for this year. Like, I think that's what you get with Will Wade. Like, I think you'll be there pretty easily.
I would like to be like 14-6. I don't remember how many conference games we're going to have this year now with all the changes, but like a very high win-loss margin would be what I expect. Especially with, you're just reloaded the team. I think I also had the fear that we were going to just retain a bunch of dudes, and I was just like, well, I don't want to see the same guys out there. So, like, I don't know. I think we're going to win a
lot. Name a player excites you the most. Basketball.
Probably Darian Williams.
Darian Williams is an easy answer. I really do like Trey Holloman's game. He's feisty, kind of tough guard, and I love any Tom Izzo guard. So that kind of, I know nobody's talking about him like that, but I really excited about that. Like that, and pairing him with Copeland, you got two
Yeah.
badasses in the backcourt. Like you got two guys that are going to piss a lot of fans off, and I am here for it.
Yeah, Copeland. I'm here for the energy, the vibe only.
Yeah, the freaking head bobbing.
Yeah, just
Yeah. I mean, Abel. Everybody's excited about how well he can shoot. Mbaya, the dude is a monster. If he makes it to campus, they are super excited about his potential. And he's enormous. And he's not just big, he's thick. Like he is. Yeah, excited about that guy. I don't know. There's a bunch. There's so many new guys, it's hard to tell. But, I mean, Darian Williams is an easy one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're just gonna have an exciting brand of basketball, and there's gonna be a lot to pick from. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's not like before where it was like very obvious it was DJ or DJ.
Right. It's probably something I'm not even thinking about, honestly, just based on how many new guys we've got coming in. Paul McNeil, man. I'm excited about Paul McNeil. I'm a big Paul McNeil fan. I think he's got potential. He needs, obviously, to grow, get a little thicker, and just get more time on the court because he didn't get a whole lot of time last year for some reason. So I'm a big Paul McNeil guy.
Yeah, I think
just
it's
skip football season and get to basketball. Yeah, I think that's the general consensus people are going to be doing.
It feels like that means this is going to be the season he goes like 11-1.
Trey Parker just committed to Seton Hall. Okay. I like Trey Parker. I thought he was good.
Sure.
I know people weren't high on him, but I thought he was athletically a good player. Good for him. He'll be fine. I think with some time, over time, he's going to grow. He needs to shoot better, but he's athletic freak, gets to the rim. It'll be fun to watch him in the Big East.
Did I see that Cam Hayes was still available? How is that even possible?
I don't know.
He's like in his
I
9th year.
Yeah. Just didn't he like transfer to some Division III school or something?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm all for it. I can't wait till we have like 28-year-olds playing still.
Yeah, we're on track for that. All right. How much? We're done with NC State. I'm so fascinated with the Bill Belichick.
Oh man, I was wondering.
Like I am so fascinated by it. Just watching it all unfold. Like the interview where she went.
We're not talking about that.
What would you say?
We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that. Everything about it is so fascinating to me. And the Sugar Daddy website and all these other things.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's like somebody who found her profile on one of the Sugar Daddy websites, and is that how they met? And they won't talk about how they're very weird story on how they met, and I don't know, man.
I don't know if I should be happy for him or sad. It's just so bizarre, man.
I mean, good for him. Got a hot girlfriend. She's psycho, and it's hilarious to me that it's the only thing that is coming out about Carolina football. People are talking about Jordan Hudson.
It's just the most anti-Belichick thing. That's the thing. Is like, remember when he was hired? I was like, man, that if you had told me Bill Belichick has been hired by someone in the Triangle, I would have assumed it was us. Like, salt of the earth, one of us. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he is one of us.
And this is what somebody said in the podcast. It's wild watching one of the best coaches ever to make himself look like an idiot in his old age, and it's crazy to me. The Arrogant Nation put out the fake college football cover and had her on the cover. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
One of the
Yeah,
greatest tweets I've ever seen.
What did it say? It was like even they're in the game. I can't remember what the stupid headline is that they've been using, but yeah. Could you imagine if this was NC State and we were having to sit through it? We would be committing suicide right now.
Oh my god! Yeah, it'd be fireable.
Oh yeah, it looks like he can recruit at least. That's what we'd be saying.
Yeah. It's crazy to me, dude. I'm so fascinated by it. I have a buddy super fascinated by the P. Diddy trial. I'm fascinated by Jordan Hudson. So, like, our text thread in our little group, and it's like he's giving us P. Diddy updates, and I'm giving him Belichick updates, and it is just ridiculous.
It's like, I mean, did UNC just not know? Did they Did they think it wasn't going to be a thing? I mean, it seems like they gave her like carte blanche, like whatever. You can be copied on everything. Like, it just seems, I just can't. It almost felt like it was like, are they doing everything they can to get fired and collect that buyout money before the June deadline? Like, it just felt like it was ramping up.
It really did. Yeah. And the whole lawsuit with Pablo Torre because
Oh my God.
they're denying everything, and he's like, "It's true." I mean, I'm not slandering anybody. This is true.
And she only got second in her competition,
Yeah.
Just dark times. I don't know. I really hope they trot her out there. I hope she's on the field with him during the games.
Oh,
Like,
she's got to be.
She's got to be the hype man or something.
She is going to be the first pan from Belichick. Like, here's Bill Belichick, South Carolina. Boom, they're going to pan to her. Guaranteed. You can almost see it happening. She's either going to be on the sideline or she'll be in the box.
He really scored a touchdown with that one. Am I right, guys? Where's Tony Hahn or whatever?
Carry on. Yeah.
Carry on. That's what it was.
That was great.
Oh, they got those illegals out of here, and now we got these. Get out of here, Gary. Come on. Made it 30 seconds.
We didn't talk about the anonymous ACC coaches report.
I didn't read it this year. Was it bad?
I'll send you a link. You can read it.
Yeah.
But the quote in there is, Dave Doran has done a great job adjusting and rebuilding the roster over the years. One coach told Athlon Sports. The issue has always been how NC State is perceived. They'll have really strong seasons with breakout guys, and they always fail to take on the next bigger step. And it talks about how we were behind in – I mean, that one stood out to me the most. But then it was talking about how they're behind in how they use NIL and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I'll send this here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do you expect?
No, I mean, I thought it was fair, honestly.
Yeah.
Nothing about it really felt out of line. Let's see what else was the other quote in here. Talk about CJ Bailey. There's always talent in these rosters, Coach told Athlon Sports. It's always a step behind the top programs in the league. There's always talent in these rosters. I don't understand that. And it's always a step behind the top program in the league. So I'm not sure if he's saying there's talent and then the program's a step behind because they don't use the talent, which would be my analysis.
Yeah.
Right
I
now,
mean,
it's easier to justify them being in the 8-win range because they're lagging in NIL. The expectations in reality are pretty far off in that regard. That's what one coach said. I don't know.
Yeah, but whatever.
How does that coach know? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, are they directly recruiting the same people and paying 4-to-1 what we're offering? Like,
yeah.
I just think State to me is like one of those programs that if they decide to do it, could level themselves up pretty aggressively with spending money from the House settlement. And I just think, for whatever reason, like that sounds like someone like that's a Clemson, Florida State, Miami person, right?
Yeah.
Like, or Louisville maybe. I don't know who else in the league can say anything about NIL spending.
I really don't know. Yeah. But again, it comes back to you look at Will Wade, right? It's the excitement. The people want hope. Like, hope is the most powerful thing for a fan base. Will Wade gives you hope. Dave Doran does not give a lot of people a lot of hope. And fair or not, I mean, you can argue that. I get it. But you're not rushing to pull out your checkbook to send Dave Doran a check for players, right? I don't know who is, right, at this point. And I don't know if they need, what they need, given the house money and all that stuff. So it's like, it's weird how this all shakes out. They clearly need NIL money. I get it. But I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of hope and excitement. And I think that was a product of last year and, again, the offense they put on the field. Like, I think there was some real detrimental effects on the psyche of the fan base after last season.
Yeah. It also just doesn't make any sense. I always you can't say that this is like your dark horse championship, like you're going for it season, right? And then roll that turd out there. Like, how do you not see it? That's the thing that concerned me the most. Is
right. Yeah. forgot about that quote. Yes.
So like, I think honestly, if Dave Dorner could just get an offensive line, like just the Midwestern offensive line, I think he could do something in this league. But there's always just been some gap in the recent years there.
It's still the scheme to me. They just don't play aggressive enough.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're going to get that kind of offensive line talent, you can play the way you want to play. But you don't get it. So I'm hoping this is the Kurt Roper is the we don't get those guys, so we're going to throw it all over the yard instead.
And that's the case for both of my candidates, Chadwell and Riley, who are known for being offensive minds and unique systems and being able to put up points, right? And that's what we are just lacking so much.
The Duke game last year was the perfect example. I've been saying it for years, right?
Yeah,
it was Wake. It's always been this. Teams could just moonball you and throw up those ducks, and just eventually they connect one and they move down the field. And you're sitting there trying to grind out drives the other way, and everyone else is just trying to plink you for 30 to 50 yards over the top. For whatever reason, he just didn't adapt there. It's been the hardest thing to understand. And I'm with you. I don't want to have a defensive head coach ever again. I want offense. I don't care about defense.
Razor thin margins, and we just have never capitalized on that.
We're gonna hire Dave Clawson. I can feel it.
Oh God, that would be wild. That would be wild. State goes slow mesh.
Dave to Dave. Oh my God, the slow mesh. I would shoot myself. I can't take it.
I tried running the slow mesh in NCAA college football. It is impossible in that game because you just get blown up. And it makes me wonder, how does it not get blown up in real life? Just have somebody.
Well, you saw what it looked like once you didn't have, two elite guys at running it, basically. I mean...
Yeah, you have AP Perry, whatever Perry was.
Yeah.
Just pushing off and mossing everybody for jump balls, right?
Oh, my God. Man, you're triggering me, dude.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. That was a good, healthy hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a 30-minute quickie.
Oh, never. No such thing.
Oh, jeez.
All right. I don't know when we'll be back again. It's summertime.
I got a baby on the way soon, very soon.
Got a baby on the way. Trying to work on some things with the pod and some additional coverage, but again, life finds a way, and work's been busy and whatever. So we'll pod them again.
Yeah.
Pod chat's always active though, and I appreciate every one of y'all clowns in there because it's good conversation.
Yeah, we do football, we do car buying advice. We're all over the place in there.
Yeah, that's right. It was car talk today. Yeah.
It's click and clack on this thing. All right.
They were great. Oh, we had robot lawnmowers. Big fan of mine. Yeah.
I was a little surprised that you had one. I'm such a purist. I don't know. I just felt like you were one of the guys that was out there grinding. Got your golf course equipment.
No chance. Because if my robot's mowing my lawn, then I got more time to play golf.
True. Very true.
And it stays mowed. Looks like I mowed it fresh all the time because it just mows all the time. It's great.
Yeah, I might have to get one after this baby's here. I might,
I get it. Somebody put in I'd like to ride my mower and get some peace and quiet, and I get it because that's nice. It's kind of a break, but at the same time, nah, this is better. If you haven't seen it in the pod chat, this is also I want to shout out Cade. He was on a boat down in somewhere in Georgia or Charleston area where he goes out, and an Atlantic sturgeon leapt out of the. Did you see those pictures?
No.
Sturgeon. It's in random in the pod chat. While he was taking the picture, leapt out of the water behind the people that were in there, and that's a rare fish, and they don't jump out of the water like that. And he got just super crisp photos of it. It's badass. It's so cool. I was super excited when I saw that. That was super cool.
Oh wow!
You see that? Just right out
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are extremely rare. Yeah. God, that's cool. Wow.
Threatened and endangered. Only seen one in aquariums.
Yeah.
Locals.
They used to run the James way back in the day.
So cool. That was awesome. I
That's
appreciate you
bonkers.
sharing that, Kate. I was stoked to see that. But anyway, yeah, pod chats, chat. We'll be there. That's where we are. In the meantime, we'll be back with a pod at some point. But always, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the pod. Thanks for joining the conversation, either in the pod chat or on social media, or whatever. Appreciate all y'all.
The post from Cade is also maximum Cade, so it adds to it. That's so great.
Yeah, perfect. All right, y'all have a good one. As always, go Pack.
Yeah, is that what we say? Go Pack.
Yeah.
Because all I got on my mind right now is some ice cream. So.
G'day, Cadnets. We just watched Tropic Thunder the other day, for the 80th time, and it just made me just think of Les, whatever his name at the end, doing the dance.
I can't stop this podcast. I don't know why, so it's still going.
Oh my God! Hit stop. Pause.
Restart. Stop. We're still going.
I guess it's just gonna be alive until the next one.
Just a live stream my office. What in the world? Oh, we're just gonna reload it.
Oh God! If this thing doesn't upload, I'm gonna lose it. That would be very us.
There you go.